In today's video, we're fishing somewhere rather special because I'm currently on the Yateley complex and behind me is Padstake, where I'm going to be for the next 36 hours. Now, believe it or not, this is actually the first time I've ever wetted a line myself on any of the lakes at the Yateley complex. I've filmed here plenty of times in the past throughout my fishing career, but today we're on the Padstake, which is right here in the complex of lakes at Yateley. Just to give you an idea, around us you've got North Lake, Carp Lake is next door, Split Lake, obviously we're on Pads, you've got South Lake, Summer Pit, Match Lake, Nursery Lake, Cox Lake, Santos Lake. Some of these are names you've probably heard before. Even if you didn't know much about Yateley or its history, you probably thought, oh yeah, I recognise the name of that place because they're so steeped in history. Big fish, named fish, some big anglers have fished here, and now it's my turn to give it a try myself. And from a first walk around, I can see the appeal. It is a beautiful complex of lakes, and I've only really walked around Pads. But I'm looking forward to this session, only here for about 36 hours, so let's see how it goes. And of course, before we got the rods out, we had to do the peg draw. Now I'm here as part of the Pro Angling Recruitment Social. I've been kindly invited along, and the draw was to choose who fishes where. I think I came out third in the draw. Point was already gone, weedy corner was already gone, and I chose toenail because when we did the lap around of the first thing, there was a lot of feeding right here. So I thought, well, if they're there right now, they might still be there by the time I get my kit to the swim, but also if they repeat the same thing tomorrow morning, I'll be set up ready to fish, hopefully nick a bite there. So that is where I'm going to be fishing. So just grab the kit and head up there. Come on. I know. Oh. Today's session is sponsored by Holy. All right, let's calm it down a little bit, shall we? But Holy have just launched their latest flavour, Tangerine Tarantula. Now this is all part of the Halloween launch, and it's not just Tangerine Tarantula that's been dropped. There's also Cherry Cheetah, Blood Orange Bat and Pomegranate Piranha. 500 ml of water, one scoop, shake it up, and suddenly you're more awake than you are when your bite alarm goes off at 3 AM. Whoa. If you like the tanginess of tangerine, then this is the one for you. Each one comes with a matching glow-in-the-dark shaker, perfect for night sessions or spooky season vibes. You can grab any one of them as a bundle for just $69.99 or go all in with the Halloween starter set and try all 4 flavours for $44.99. All 4 flavours for $44.99. Try saying that multiple times fast. So don't get caught sleeping like a zombie and grab yours while stocks last. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment, and remember, use the codes that are coming up on the screen right now. MBF5 will get you £5 off your first order, and MBF gets you 10% off all orders after that. Thanks Holy for supporting the channel and this video. Now, let's go get the rods out. Now in the swim, and I've got all 3 rods out already. That's the first thing I've done once I got in the swim. Because there's so much activity out there, bubbling wise, rather than faffing with everything else, make a load of noise, I've just put some mesh bags on some rigs, really simple little bottom baits, maybe wafter sort of set up, and just flick them out. I've not really got any drop on any of the rods, which suggests that I'm either relying on weed or a lot of leaf matter. There's a lot of leaves on the floor here, loads of trees around the lake, so I'm imagining every autumn all those leaves fall in, so the bottom's probably going to be quite silty, leaf matter, weed, who knows. I'll discover that in a bit, but what I've done to counteract that for the time being is I've used my sort of semi-stiff bottom bait rig presentation, still with a lead clip, running lead clip setup, but I put big mesh bags on as well, so that when that falls down through the water, even if the lead plugs, that hook bait should still sit above everything and dissolve down. It's almost how you imagine a solid bag works, where everything's within a bag. Rather than that, I've got my separation from the lead to the hook bait, but that mesh bag should settle down on top of any leaf matter or debris. We'll find out when I come to wind in whether that was the right call, but for now, 3 rods are out there, they're fishing for me, and hopefully we get an early bite. Bait boat time. I know I could have a lead around, which I did do when I wound in my rods probably an hour or so ago now to have a little walk around, get some shots of the lake. I did have a brief lead around, and to be honest, didn't really reveal much other than the fact there's not any clear patches that I found so far. It's mainly just what I expected, leaf matter. But one of the plus points, when I brought my rods in, all three of them were completely clean. So the presentation that I went for with those rigs and mesh bags worked. So I'm happy with rigs, lead presentation, everything like that. Just a case of finding where I want to fish now. So I'm going to take out the bait boat, just so I'm not being over the top with all the noise leading about, because I'm only here until tomorrow afternoon now. I want to do as much work finding out what's in front of me without disturbing the swim too much, because I still think there's fish in the area. I don't want to push them off. So I'm using my bait boat, which you've probably seen a few times in the past, but this is the Ripton Catch X Mini, and it's got a little hydrobat sonar on the back, which connects it to my phone, and that will be a really quick and easy way to make that a bit tighter. There we go. Really quick and easy way of finding out the depths more than anything, but also if there's any potential clearer areas. So let's turn it all on. And of course that sonar isn't going to turn on until it's in the water. So let's get it in and find what's in front of me. And out we go. So let's find out exactly what we're fishing over. So where I'm going to go with the pads, I'm going to show you out there. That's where I had a rod before. 4.4 feet. So decent depth. And as you can see, it's pretty clean. It shelves off pretty quick to the edge of the pads. As I expected, I've always found the edge of pads to be pretty clean because they're frequent visit spots for carp. So I'm happy with that one, but now I need to find where I want my other two rods to go. So I'm going to drive the boat out a little bit further. I'm probably not going to fish. Ooh, let's move that around. Move that around. I'm probably not going to fish too far out because the bubbling's been quite close in. And that's probably about where I had my rod earlier on. If you have a look on here, pretty clean as well. So although I'm picking up leaf matter, I think it's still quite a firm bottom. That's nothing to be concerned about. It's going up a bit now. There's definitely a bit of a deeper trough there. You can see right here. It's going up to 3.9, 3.8. I'm probably not going to go much further than that anyway, so it's definitely got higher there. But we did have a fish roll earlier, so I'm going to go a little bit further. But to the left, see if we can find anywhere out there. That's probably as far as I want to go. 4 foot, 4.2. A bit shallower there. Let's bring it back. It's only 3 foot there. There, we're getting a bit deeper. 4 foot. Clean. I kind of want to be on that 4 foot area because it definitely goes back up to 3 and a bit. One of those gullies. I think is where I want. That's actually the same gully, just repeating itself. It's a little bit deeper. So middle rod's going to be pretty much slap bang between his bivvy and his bivvy out there. Let's move to the left, see if we can find somewhere else. There were fish showing around here earlier, 3.9. So now just there. And I did have a rod there earlier because there was some fish showing. As you can see, oh, it's shallow. That's the weed. Look at that. It's a shallow bit there. 2.5 foot. And weedy. Yeah, really shallow to the left. Should start dropping off again now. There we go. Look at that. Like it falls off a cliff. Down to 5 and then back up. Ooh. Hello. Hello. Let's go back to that. 4, 4, 4, 4.5, 5. Hello. I like the look of that. 4.5, 5 foot and clear. Right there. 5.4. Yeah, there's definitely a little carpy hole there. It's very small. But look, 4, I'm barely moving. Just trundling along. 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 5, 6 foot there. Okay, well that's left spot sorted. And that is just there. In line with the U in the far horizon. Straight down. Not very far out at all. If I zoom out, you'll see it's not very far, but definite little hole there. So one's going to go there, one out here, and one just off these pads as well. You can call it cheating if you like, but That was very quick. All of 5-10 minutes with the bait boat out, and I'm pretty happy with where I'm going to fish. So this is the real simple setup I'm going to be using. I've just tied up a new rig because I saw the little nick in the rig that I brought in, gave it a little strength test and it parted. So good job I checked. Always good to check a rig before it goes out. But I've just changed down to a little wafter. So this little dumbbell pink wafter. I've been doing well on these recently on other waters. So I thought I'd give that a try. And then the rig is my usual. So pull that back out of the bag. So there's the rig. Dead simple. Little wafter. Bit of shrink tube trapping the hair on the shank. Bit of shrink tube to give me an extra kicker. Doesn't matter that the braid is exposed. It's fine. And then a little shot on the hook. That's going into a mesh bag, which I've just put it back in there, pull it through, like so. And that tubing, that putty now needs to slide back down onto there, which is where the coated section of the braid is stripped back. It puckers up. It gives you a really nice point for the putty to grip onto. So once that's on, I'm not fussed about it being too neat. And then you've got the supple braided section just past the putty like so. This is the coated section. It's still, there we go, it's still a semi-stiff coated, so it doesn't offer much in the way of anti-tangle properties. It's just a little bit stiffer than supple braid. Anti-tangle sleeve to my loop. That's going to my usual lead clip setup and good to go. All three rods, are going to be basically the same. Time to get them out one by one. Put the rig in first. Line drops out the back. All good. We keep that in position whilst driving it out as well. And a little bit of extra bait when I'm dropping it. Just some response pellet. Not too much. That will do, because what I'm going to do then is just catapult boilies around this. So rather than it be a really concentrated spot of bait, this is going to be sat there with some pellet around it and the odd boilie. In fact, I will chuck a couple of boilies in there as well, just a good measure, but then the bulk of it will be catapulted out. Just a handful of boilie on top, and that will do. Close that off. Let's do the left rod first, which is that little carpy hole I just found. There we go. I think, yeah, 5/6, there we are. That's where I want to be. And we've dropped. There we are, you can see my bait going down on the sonar. Perfect. That is all three rods out for the night. Pretty happy with how that's gone, because the left one is now, as you know, in that really small little carpy hole, I think. Anyway, it's about, at points it was reading 6 foot on the sonar. Whether I've dropped on exactly that 6 foot is hard to tell, but I'm definitely in the vicinity of that little hole. The second rod, which is the middle one, I didn't actually go as far as I first did when I took the sonar out, about where the seagulls are right now, which the seagulls have been fun the last 10 minutes trying to get some bait out. Again, it was down to about 5 foot before it raised out, so on this side of what seems to be a little bit of a bar. And then the right one is really close in, just off these pads. And again, I've just sprayed some pellet around it, some boilie, and I'd say a good 98% of that has gone into the seagull stomachs, so at least they're full for the evening. I might try and put a little bit more out when it gets a bit darker, because seagulls tend to, ooh, fizzing up a treat on my left rod. Oh, that's a good sign. I've been getting really dramatic with my reactions at the moment on camera. Maybe it's because I make too many thumbnails, so I'm like... So I'll try and curb that on the actual videos, because that's not a genuine reaction, is it? But no, there are fish feeding on that left rod. So when I drop the 2 rods with the bait boat, I just use the catapult to spray some buoys around it. So I've got a little patch of bait where the hopper opened, but it's not like a really condensed patch of bait, because they were feeding quite sporadically this morning, like moving around. I didn't want to have them too condensed in one spot, which might be a bit more like alarm bells. The fact that I've spread the bait around a bit more hopefully keeps them feeding in that more natural way they were this morning, by eating a bit, moving, and eventually come across my rig. So I'm happy with where the rods are. I'm happy with the presentation. Everything's been kept the same, other than the left rod is now on that little pink wafter. The other 2 are bottom baits trimmed with a little buoyant topper. So it's kind of like a little snowman setup. And all 3 have gone out with the mesh bags as well. So I've done all I can now. They're going to stay out until I head on tomorrow, unless of course I have a fish, which is what I'm hoping for. But the daylight hours are coming to a close. It's going to get dark very quickly. It's mid-October now, so the nights are definitely drawing in a bit quicker than they were a month or so ago. Oh, action camera's turning off. So yeah, get some grub on, and hopefully we'll be rudely awoken in the night, or ideally first thing in the morning. Be nice to get a good night's kip. Good morning, and it was a pretty quiet night in my swim, unfortunately. Got a good night's sleep. There were a couple of bites around the lake. I think Stu on the point lost one, and he's the guy that's kind of directly opposite me. And next door had a weird occurrence in the middle of the night, but nothing for me. And this morning I was sure I was going to get a bite. The bubbling started around these pads. At one point it was jacuzziing right where my rig is, and I didn't even get so much as a liner. So a bit bizarre that nothing went off there. And the feeding activity has been a lot less this morning than it was yesterday. So what I hoped would happen is that the fish would turn up again this morning like they did when we got here yesterday, but I'd already have rigs in place and maybe something would happen. It hasn't, so that's a bit disappointing, but there has still been signs of fish. There's definitely fish in these pads. It's just a case of getting them to come out and feed, because every now and then the pads will knock, there'll be a swirl in there and whatnot. So I know I'm not far from fish at all. And that's sometimes the most frustrating part. There's been a few shows here and there. The old patch of bubbles, a lot in front of Stu still. And there's also been a couple of shows in the bay to my right where Stu isn't fishing, and they rolled there a few times yesterday as well. So I've made a couple of trips up there so far and just chucked in a couple of handfuls of pellets, some boilies. I'm just going to keep an eye on that and see if some feeding activity starts there. I might go out with a rod maybe too. Some bubbles have just started coming up again on my pads rod. So there's activity, there's fish moving around, there's definitely signs that fish are here, but they're proving very difficult. The fact that there's now 7 people fishing, someone else rocked up last night and got the rods out. There's now 7 of us fishing, and there's not been one fish caught. So that gives you an idea of how tough it is fishing at the moment. And from what I've understood, or what I've been told, I think the previous few lots of people that have been on have also found it quite difficult, the odd fish here and there. So there are bites to be had, I just think you got to work for it. And with the fact that I've only got a few hours left, really, I'm going to be heading on mid-afternoon to drive over to Norwich for a bit of work tomorrow. I've only got a few hours left to really make this work, so I'm going to keep an eye on that bay, keep on putting bait in up there, keep on checking on it, and if I see the feeding activity heightens up there where there's not been any line pressure, I'm going to go out with a rod, maybe 2, and do exactly what I did yesterday morning and just put on little mesh bags and lower them in place. And maybe that could be what happens, or that could be what pays off for me. But as it stands, rods are still out, I'm just chilling, slowly waking up, as are the hornets. There's a hornet's nest in this tree right here, so they've been going past all day, all night, a bit like a motorway for what seems like small birds. And that was a fish just rolled as well in front of Neil next door. So there's fish about, fish are moving, fish are clearly hungry and active, and that's all you can ask for. My arm's getting a bit tired, so I'm going to rest it on the tripod. And yeah, just going to slowly start packing down. Seems like quite a quick session, but there is still a chance of a bite. I am not done yet. I'm still confident that something could happen. But that is where we're at this morning. Time for the final throw of the dice. As you can see, 2 rods behind me, my net and an arm. I'm going to head up to the top corner and flick out 2 rods, just like I did at the start of the session, with little mesh bags. So I've been pre-baiting that swim all morning. I did put a little bit of bait in there yesterday as well, and there's been the odd show up there. I've been looking up there every sort of 20-30 minutes. There's been the odd bubbles, not loads of activity, but a damn sight more than what's in my swim right now. I could have sat it out for a couple more hours here and hoped they'd come to me, but that's not really me. I like to end the session thinking I did everything possible to try and get a bite, and so moving up there for even an hour, maybe 2 at a push, it's worth a try and see if we can get something to save this session. Time to bring them in. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to get a last minute bite. I've been up here for probably about an hour and a half now, just finishing up some bits, and I really have to bring the rods in now because I've got a 3.5 hour journey to Norwich now, where I'm staying overnight. I've got a bit of work to do tomorrow, so I have to cut the session short now. Otherwise, I would be staying on and doing the second night like everyone else is, because everyone else on the lake is here until the end of the booking, which is tomorrow at 9ish, I want to say it is, maybe 9:30. So hopefully they'll get amongst some fish, but as it stands, out of all 7 of us fishing, no one's caught anything. So that kind of sums up how the lake's fishing, or lack of fishing. The fish are just not playing ball, and that's what happens sometimes. And someone's actually just messaged me on Instagram talking about this, the autumn feed up or the October feed up, whether that's still a thing, because the old sort of theory was that they fed quite heavily this time of year before it goes into winter. But I think our seasons are so all over the place now, the fish don't often know what's going on. It's not cold, like it's mid-October, and at times it's been fine just to be in a t-shirt. It's been pretty mild. The fish are moving around, they seem to be feeding in areas, but very sporadic. And that feeding window this morning, which is when I was most confident in catching something, no one got a bite. So it's a strange one, but maybe I'll be back in the future. My first ever time fishing any of the Yateley complex, and of course this has been Pads Lake for 36 hours. I've enjoyed my stay. It's a beautiful fishery, and yeah, who knows, maybe one day it will be back, whether it's on here or another venue, I don't know. We will see where my fishing life takes me, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my time here. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, seeing how I've tackled it. I'm sorry I didn't manage to provide a fish. No one would have wanted that more than me, but every video is exactly as it is, blanks and all. So I hope you liked the video. Like it if you did, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next one. And also, one last final thanks to Stuart, who invited me on this social for the Pro Angling Recruitment Social. It's been good fun, and so were the beers last night, although my head paid for it this morning. Right, I've got to bring these in and hit the road.